Hi, and welcome to another business tip. And this time I want to talk about one of the fastest, one of the easiest, one of the most effective ways to grow your business. What I'm talking about here is using I'll just say your community to grow your business. Now, it's going to take a number of different forms. There are different ways you can do this. So I'm going to talk through 4 different ways that you can leverage the community around you, your community, to grow your business faster. In the end, I think everyone knows the answer to the question, what's the best form of marketing? Word of mouth marketing. And some of what we're talking about today is how do you get word of mouth marketing to work faster for you? Not just waiting and hoping that someone mentions you to their friends, but actually prompting it, triggering it, make it go faster. So let's go through the 4 different ways. The first I want to talk about, most straightforward, is just client referrals. You've got clients, hopefully you're doing a good job for them, and in which case there's every chance they may want to refer you, mention you to a friend, to a colleague, to another business person. Now, you can sit back and wait for that to happen. It might happen. Probably going to happen slowly. What I would recommend is making it go a little faster. And there are 3 steps you have to take. The first of which is you need to just prompt it. Ask. Ask them, do they know anyone else? Part of the asking needs to explain to them who you're looking for. Whilst they may be your customer, they're probably not spending a lot of time thinking about who's their target market or things like that. So best to actually ask and explain. So you might prompt them and say, who do you know that, if you're a B2B company, that owns a business as well? Who do you know who has a similar interest to you? If, for example, you're a B2C company. Who do you know that looks like you almost? So you trigger it by asking that and then perhaps prompting them further with perhaps they'd enjoy an opportunity to insert what it is you deliver, the outcomes you deliver, the benefits you deliver, the fun you deliver, the happiness, the whatever outcome you're delivering to them that's positive. And you can help them in that sense by saying, who do you know who looks like this? Perhaps they would be interested in that outcome as well. Then why don't you hand them one of these cards with our contact details on it? Why don't you make an introduction for us? Why don't you send them to this landing page? There are lots of ways you can make that introduction. But in the end, the 3 critical steps in almost all of these methods is prompting it, triggering it, helping them understand a little how to do it, and then giving them that mechanism. So great, that's doing referrals. Now, the next level, the bigger version, the faster, more exciting version of that is strategic alliances. Now, this is where you're using another business and you're leveraging them and their community to drive growth in your business. So this is about another company who might help you to get customers. Think about any business that works with, sells to the same target market as yours. Same sort of people. Obviously not a competitor because you'll be going after them and taking them for each other. An example of this, I worked with a restaurant down in the Rocks and they did some research, some analysis, and they understood that about 60% of their business was local. They had the idea that local people, what else do they do in the city? City people. They go to the dry cleaners, probably every week, drop in their suits, their shirts, their dresses. And so they had a chat. They built a relationship with the dry cleaner. And in the end, the dry cleaner had a little poster up recommending this restaurant. They also had little cards that said, you come from the dry cleaner. And anyone who was recommended from the dry cleaner, they turn up at the restaurant. I think their first offer, they got a free salad or a free dessert. So a small offer. Now, that drove something like a 30% growth in their client base in the first couple of months. Very, very simple. And once you've got that alliance partner set up, what you can do with them is almost unlimited. Okay, you can promote, like I've just mentioned, in a simple B2C environment. In a B2B environment, you could perhaps run a joint event. You could sit down in their office and you could go through each other's databases almost. Who would you like a personal introduction to? At one of their events, they could get you to present, to speak. You could come, we had great success. Our accountant used to invite us to their annual, it was an annual client event of theirs on a boat in the harbour. They get all their clients together. Great, we got to meet them. My first business in Sydney, it really got going off the back of a bookkeeper hosting one event for their clients and asking me to speak at it. So there are all sorts of forms it can take once you have that relationship. An engineering firm, actually, I worked with up here in the mountains, they had great success just partnering with various accountants. And then they grew their business into Sydney as well. And again, they leveraged off the back of other engineering firms, accounting firms, all of whom dealt with the same people but weren't competitors. They built a relationship, they taught them how to trigger it, and they were proactive in driving that opportunity. It's very simple and can become very significant. Another level at which you can do this is simply through advisory groups. It's not always prompting leads. Sometimes it's about who are those 10 people you spend time with, maybe once a month, lots of forums who organise this, who are on your side. They give you new ideas. Okay, maybe they just hold you accountable, but they trigger ideas. Sometimes it's introductions as well. There are groups like YPO, groups like EO. I know our elite membership program, and a critical part of that is that monthly meeting with your board, as we call it. It's not really a board, but that group of 10 who you see every month, they trigger your growth. I mean, an engineering company I work with, they've grown from a couple of million in the last few years up to they're now about a $75, $80 million national business. And the guy that runs it, the owner, he attributes much of his growth, his YPO for it. The group he gets together with and swap ideas. Give each other ideas, support, assistance, and sometimes they do business together as well. Now, the last one I'll mention is the online community. Maybe this is the newer form. Okay, Facebook is the ultimate example of this. You know, who drove Facebook's growth? Did they go out and get all their customers, their members, their customers? No. Anyone who signed up to Facebook goes and invites their friends straight away. And that's how Facebook grew. That's how LinkedIn grew. That's how a lot of the online communities grew. Now, how does your community get grown online? How do you develop? Is it through, do you start with a Facebook group and invite a few people? Then they invite others to then follow you. It doesn't have to be Facebook, of course, but through the various online channels, the opportunities to grow a community of people who follow you, who interact with you, who might ultimately buy from you, is quite straightforward compared to what it used to be. It certainly can be quick, can be very cost effective, can be quite fun as well. And it's an incredibly effective way to grow businesses and grow them fast. I mean, probably my fastest growing client over the last year or two they do various things, crypto, blockchain, but gaming as well. And they've just completed a capital raise at a couple of billion valuation. They're going, it's like a rocket ship. But through all their gaming businesses, their communities is what grows them. It's the communities of people who engage with their games and with them through their games. That's who drives their growth. So the scope for community-led growth through the online channels, almost unlimited. But in all of the four methods I've talked about, in referrals, in strategic alliances, in I'll call them the forums, but the advisory groups almost, and then the online communities, it's simply about identify who your communities can be. Build a relationship with them. And then trigger the opportunities, trigger the growth, prompt them, manage them. It requires time, requires effort, but it can be done intentionally. It can be done incredibly cost effectively, if not freely, and is among the simplest, most effective, most reliable, and absolutely fastest ways to grow any business. Good luck with it.